The Two Supreme Theras Part 2 The Roar of a Lion. The two friends of Rajira, Apatissa and Kolita, arrived at Buddha's monastic retreat, together with their companions. After the usual welcome and pleasantries, they all became bhikkhus. Then Lord Buddha delivered a sermon, at the end of which their 250 companions attained arhat. The only two left were Apatissa and Kolita. In their previous lifetimes many worlds ago, they had resolved to become supreme disciples of a Buddha. Hence, they needed more practice and wisdom to achieve the level they aimed for. The only two left were Apatissa and Kolita. In their previous lifetimes many worlds ago, they had resolved to become supreme disciples of a Buddha. Hence, they needed more practice and wisdom to achieve the level they aimed for. A week went by, and after being guided by Buddha himself on how to overcome obstacles and hearing and understanding a discourse on sensations, Kolita became an arhat. However, Apatissa was still at the Sotapanna stage. He was assessing, classifying, analyzing the Dhamma with his great mind and wisdom that it was taking time. On the 15th day, he went along with Buddha to Gikagata Hill to meet a certain renunciant named Ajivasa, who also happened to be a nephew of Apatissa. After they had taken their places, Ajivaka said that he did not believe in any doctrine. Then Lord Buddha asked, "Do you cling to your belief of non-belief?" Ajivaka was disconcerted to hear that non-belief is a belief in itself. It was a paradox that had never crossed his mind before, brilliant though he was. Then Lord Buddha continued, "If you are attached to this belief about non-believing, it would be difficult to let go even if you know the right view. And also if you meet someone with different beliefs and views, could breed animosity between you, which could lead to arguments, verbal debates, or in extreme cases physical violence." Then, Lord Buddha went on to explain, the material that one call one's body is impermanent, is an affliction, is precarious. Like a cold sore, like a piercing arrow, it torments, like a stranger and extraneous, expires and decomposes, empty of a permanent self, does not obey one's will, and not a self that can make judgments. Then he went to explain the three types of sensations, feelings, dukkha, unpleasant, sukha, pleasant, and neutral. They arise and cease one at a time, and one should not cling to any of the sensations, but should let go. After listening to Lord Buddha's clarification of the Rupa and Nama Dhamma, Ajivaka, who boasted he did not believe in any doctrine, accepted and comprehended the Dhamma to the extent that he attained the Sotapadimagga and Phala, the first stage of enlightenment. Apatissa, who was sitting beside and fanning Buddha, also listened to the discourse with his great mind. At the end of the discourse, he attained higher wisdom, step by step, from Sotapadimagga to Sagadagami Magga, second stage of enlightenment, to Anagami Magga, third stage of enlightenment, and finally attained arhat. When they got back to the monastery, Kolita and the monks assembled to meet them. At the assembly, Lord Buddha honored them with the title of right-hand Thera to Apatissa and the title of left-hand Thera to Kolita, citing that Apatissa is second only to Buddha in Dhamma wisdom, and Kolita is second only to Buddha in Iti, miraculous power. Once they become arhats and chief disciples of Buddha, they no longer call themselves Apatissa and Kolita. In honor of his mother, Sari, Apatissa called himself Sripitara, or son of Sari. Kolita called himself Moggallana, to honor his mother, Mowgli. Henceforth, they were known as Venerable Sripitara and Venerable Moggallana. They had been the best of friends since childhood, sought for enlightenment together, attained arhatship only 1 week apart from each other, given titles at the same time, but they have slightly different dispositions. Venerable Moggallana was extremely quick in thinking and action. The Iti power that had been practiced and honed over several lifetimes was so great and powerful that he could assume any form or visit any place in the universe in a split second. But he was less tolerant than Venerable Sripitara. Venerable Sripitara, on the other hand, was slower and more analytical in thinking. He was compassionate, patient, and humble. Whenever he delivered a sermon, people from all over the country came to listen with beneficial results. It was not just people, but deities from glorious and exalted realms came to listen and attain Dhamma in. Despite being a millionaire's son in his lay life, being honored with title of right-hand Thera, when he became a monk and attaining wisdom second only to Buddha, the Venerable Sripitara remained a compassionate, humble, and patient man. There was a time when he was on his alms round in the city, when a certain Brahmin decided to test the Venerable Thera's patience. He came from behind and gave a hard blow to the Thera's back. The great Thera, however, did not even turn around to look. Only then the Brahmin realized that he had made a great mistake. He touched the Thera's feet with his forehead to ask for forgiveness and also invited the Thera to his house for a meal. The Venerable Thera knew with his great mind that the Brahmin had the potential to understand the Dhamma and become a devoted disciple. Agreed. He touched the Thera's feet with his forehead to ask for forgiveness and also invited the Thera to his house for a meal. The Venerable Thera knew with his great mind that the Brahmin had the potential to understand the Dhamma and become a devoted disciple. Agreed. While they were in the Brahmin's house, an angry mob had gathered outside with sticks and stones. "Come out," they shouted, "you who dared to harm our revered Thera. We are here to teach you a lesson." Venerable Sripitara went out and said, "It was me he hit, not you. If I can forgive, why can't you? Now go back." On hearing the Thera's words, the crowd obeyed and dispersed. The roar of a lion. It was the practice of the Sangha community to go into retreat in their monasteries during the Lent, but outside the Lent, went for journeys throughout the length and breadth of the country, with the aim of spreading the Dhamma. On one occasion a group of 500 monks led by Venerable Sripitara were preparing for the trip. Before they set off, Venerable Sripitara made it a point to bade goodbye to all the monks staying behind in the monastery. One young monk in particular was waiting for the great Thera to greet him personally, even mentioning his family name. But Venerable Sripitara, amidst the hustle and bustle of preparing for the journey, absent-mindedly left him out, probably thinking he already had. The young monk was disappointed. Furthermore, when Venerable Sripitara was putting on his robe, the robe happened to accidentally brush the temple of the monk. He felt he had been discriminated and ill-treated. He went to see Buddha, and told him that the right-hand Thera had hit him in the temple with his robe. Buddha knew at once that there was a misunderstanding, but he wanted to settle the matter and unfold the truth. He sent a monk to tell Venerable Sripitara to come back. Venerable Sripitara did not explain himself, but made an affirmation regarding his forbearance and humility in the presence of all the monks in the monastery. Like a roar of a lion that proclaimed the whole jungle of his strength and power, he said, "I consider myself like the earth, that never complains about what is thrown on it, whether they are clean or filthy, good or evil, beautiful or ugly. It just bears without flinching, like water that washes away everything, never discriminating the clean from the filthy, good from evil, like wind that blows over everything, regardless of whether they are sweet, smelling or foul, like fire that burns everything thrown into it, like an old rag that nobody wanted, like a beggar, deprived of pride, like an old and weak bull with broken horns, like a well-groomed and beautifully dressed young man or woman being forced to wear a dead rotten animal around his or her neck, like an old pot with grease oozing down from the holes that nobody wants to hold." After giving this analogy between these instances, and his unwavering forbearance and humility, several monks, who were still in the Puchayana, an unenlightened being, stage had tears in their eyes. Older monks were looking at the young monk with contempt. The young monk, who caused all this trouble, wept in remorse and shame. He realized that it was actually his desire for recognition from one of the greatest men that ever lived. Then he asked the Venerable Sripitara for forgiveness, which was duly given. The great monk also asked for forgiveness from the young monk for any misunderstanding he had caused unknowingly. After more than 40 years of spreading the Dhamma and helping beings liberate from suffering, the great monk pondered over the time for his entry to nirvana. His master Buddha had already decided to pass into parinirvana after a few months from that time. He found out that he had only 7 days left. Then he went to Buddha and after levitating to a great height, paid his last homage. Then he went back to his mother's mansion, accompanied by 500 disciples. In the same room where he was born, he passed into nirvana.